Steve, would you mind tucking your tripod in just a fuzz for me? There you go. Perfect. Thank you. Mic check. Microphone check. 1 2 1 2. Mic check. Is everyone good in the back? Nicole, do you need to still set up? Okay. Good. Berm, you good? Yes, Lori. Here, I'll take it for you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Spencer, you good? You don't care? All right, cool. Got a thumbs up. So, if everyone's happy and everyone's, well, that was a poor choice of words on my part. If everyone's good audio level wise, I'm gonna go sit down. Anyone else? Mic check. Check 1 2. Okay. Microphone check. 1 2 1 2. Excellent. Mike, you're hooked into internet, right? You're good? Okay. Excellent. Mic check. Thanks for that, Tim. Thank you. Mic check. 1 2.
Okay, over here to the right, we'll open up the press conference. Austin Ward, the podcast.
Right, felt like the offense really bogged down start to finish. What was some of the thinking with the run game, and were there some thoughts to adjusting it, throwing it a little bit more? There was success in the 2-minute drill. Just evaluate that offensive plan there.
Yeah, well, I think we struggled to run the ball in this game. We know we've talked about this many times. We have to run the ball, especially in this game. It was a little windy out, and in order to win the game, you got to be able to run it. We weren't able to do that. We tried a couple different schemes, couldn't quite get into a rhythm on that, and that ultimately, along with the turnovers and the missed field goals, was the difference in the game.
Over to the left, Cameron Teague Robinson, the Athletic.
Ryan, does you mentioned the missed field goals by Jaden. How does that? What did you say to him, and how does that affect maybe your confidence or the team's confidence in him going into the playoff?
Yeah, I'm not there right now, quite honestly. I'm still trying to digest everything that just happened, and got a locker room full of guys who were just devastated, and I thought they played with great emotion. I thought the defense played their tails off, and I thought everybody played hard. Just the overall execution wasn't good enough, especially on offense. On offense, and we couldn't control the game in the run game. Just weren't efficient enough, and overall execution wasn't good enough in a game like this. And so that's really where what I'm thinking about right now, and the guys in that locker room.
Over to the right, Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
Ryan, you talk a lot about everything always coming back to what you guys do, not about who you're playing, what you guys do. 4 straight years now, what you guys done hasn't been enough in this game. Where do you even go, and how do you pick up the pieces and trying to go forward, in particular with this game in mind?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just fresh off the game right now, and obviously extremely disappointed and angry that we didn't execute well enough. So I'm not there right now. Just fresh off the game, but as you know, this is not easy to accept, and obviously have to take the ownership. It's I'm the one ultimately that makes the final decisions on things, and felt like we were in a really good place coming into this game. I felt like we were prepared to play well in this game, and I think you could see maybe some of the stuff that happened in the offensive line and shuffling things around ended up really coming to a head today. Some of those guys will have to look at the film and figure it out, but we just couldn't seem to get through to the second level on some runs, and led to some frustration. And then I thought guys were into it even all the way to the end. It was a great play by Jack on the goal line, just unbelievable effort right there to give the offense a chance, but go 3 and out, and it was 4th and 1 on our own, in our red zone. I just felt like at that point you had to punt it, because if you don't get it there, the game's probably really in the balance. So I don't know much more to say about it.
Over to the left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Ryan, the one drive you guys had success on was really the end of the first half. You guys are going tempo, no huddle. Did you think about going back to that more in the second half? And do you wish maybe you would have gone back to that more in the second half?
I mean, we tried to change up the huddle. I mean, the tempo a little bit on some things, and some of it worked and some of it didn't. That drive, it worked, and it was in the 2-minute drive, and I thought it was well executed. But that was just 100% throw on that that drive there. I think maybe there was a run or two, but you got to stay on. You got to get first downs when you're doing that. If you don't get first downs, then it's hard to continue to play with tempo. So there were times where we tried to move it a little bit faster. You can see we didn't huddle as much today. We tried to get more plays. We thought that gave us an opportunity, but ultimately it wasn't enough.
Over to the right, Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Ron, you could probably look at all 4 of these games and find legit football reasons for why they went the way they went, plus other, obviously, outside factors. But at what point does this game become a mental hurdle for your team, and you maybe see that becoming part of the issue? How do you coach out of that?
Yeah, I don't know, but I can just really go off of this game and what's going on in this game right now. I think each game is a little bit different and unique to itself, like you said, but the results are the results. And as hard as that is to say, we came up short here again today, and not easy to swallow at all.
Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
Yeah, Ryan, Will Howard struggled before he went into the tent, after he came into the tent. I don't know if it's concussion or if you can speak to any of that, but did you think about not sending him back out? Do you think that had anything to do with it?
I just go based off of what our doctors say, and it came out for a second, and then they said he was available and he was okay to go back in the game, and I checked with him, and he said he was in good shape and didn't recognize anything, just in terms of the interaction that led to anything other than for him to go play.
What did you see in his game that was just maybe off today?
Well, I feel like the interception, in the red area, that was, he floated a little bit, and it was a little bit behind him. Didn't have a lot of zip on it, kind of died. I know he was trying to make a play on the 3rd down in the red zone, and probably could have just thrown that away and would have had a field goal opportunity there. So, there's a fine line of trying to make plays and win the game, but also, being smart enough to take care of the ball. And so that's the balance of playing quarterback. And I think we all know that, Will gave everything he possibly had today.
Over to the right, Bill Landis, Kings of the North.
Ryan, what was the miscommunication that caused you guys to have 12 guys on the field coming out of the timeout?
Yeah, there was miscommunication in terms of the grouping based on what they had in the game. And, they were, fast to run off the sideline and we weren't given a ton of time to be able to match the personnel. And so in that moment, as it was getting loud, there was miscommunication, in terms of what was in the game. And, because it was moving so fast, there was a little bit of panic going on, typically when, a group runs on the field, you get a little bit of time to make sure you make that substitution, that time was very, very fast. And so, we had to quickly, respond to that, and we didn't well enough, and we panicked, and it cost us.
Over to the left, Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Ryan, defensively, 3 drives were really all that they moved. What did you see that was successful? What did you see that kind of broke through at the end on those final 2 drives?
For them? No, I mean, they had a couple runs in there. They escaped on one of the a couple scrambles that kept them on schedule. I thought the defense kept fighting their tails off, and kept competing though. And when you're not getting as much momentum on offense, it can kind of wear on your defense a little bit. And I think that's probably more than anything what happened. But I thought they continued to fight the entire game.
Over to the right, Brandon Marcello, CBS Sports.
I'm not sure if any coach faces as much pressure as you going into the season because of the roster you built, the expectations. A lot of people say national championship or bust, and people were in there booing during the game, and people questioning you as a head coach. What do you foresee for the future of this program and for yourself?
No, I mean, everybody, wants to win this game in the worst way, and nobody wants to win it more than we do. And it's our number 1 goal every year. And so when you don't, do that, there's disappointment and frustration. And so, I don't blame anybody for being upset. I'm upset, more than anybody. And, those players are too, and the coaches and everybody that goes at it. So, I mean, we know what we're getting ourselves into here.
Steve Hellwagen, 24/7 Sports.
Yeah, Coach. Third quarter, twice you're in the red zone with a first down, and they had fouled Smith twice in the end zone on pass interference. Neither of those possessions, you put the ball toward the end zone, and both of them bogged down. You come away scoreless both times, interception, missed field goal. Just do you lament coming away from not taking a shot to put the ball in the end zone in those situations?
When a defense is playing softer and kind of backing up like they did in this game, you have to be able to take the underneath stuff or run the football, and that's really what happened. And there were times where we tried to push the ball into the end zone, but ultimately you can't just force that. You gotta be smart in what you're doing, because they can put a cloud over him like they did and put 2 guys on him. So there's opportunities to do that. We did that, but also you got to execute in other areas, and that's what we'd always talk about in balance. And when you don't have balance and you can't run and throw the ball when you need to, then this is what happens.
Over to the right, Tim May, the Letterman and Rowe.
Yeah, Ryan, I was just wondering, is going through your mind the squandered opportunities? I mean, obviously a score, 2 missed field goals, et cetera. And is there anything when you and Chip were talking to each other, did you talk about throwing the ball more? I mean, for one of another term, because that seemed to be really where the opportunities were.
Yeah, well, I guess we ended up throwing at the end of the game 33 times out of, I don't know how many plays we had, 59. So there were more passes than runs, but you can't just, you can't just abandon the run. You have to be able to, control the ball, because as we know, when you throw the ball, and it was windy today, and we didn't have a ton of time back there in terms of protection. So we tried to be smart about that. I thought, again, that we had a good plan in the pass game going in, but ultimately it wasn't good enough to execute it. But yeah, I mean, those are all things you talk about and make sure you're doing the best you can.
Yeah, I guess it's obvious the missed field goals are extremely disappointing, right? I mean, I'm not putting words in your mouth.
No, I mean, the turnovers, the rushing yards, and then you miss opportunities, like those 2 field goals. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna cost you a game like this. Every yard matters, every point matters. and it didn't get done.
Along the aisle, Jake Trotter, ESPN.
Ryan, do you have comment on the melee that happened at midfield after the game? You had staff and assistant coaches that looked like they got bloodied during the skirmish.
Yeah, I don't know all the details of it, but I know that, these guys, are looking to, put a flag on our field, and our guys weren't going to let that happen. So, I'll find out exactly what happened, but, this is our field, and certainly, we're embarrassed with the fact that we lost the game, but, there's some prideful guys on his team that weren't just going to let that happen.
Over to the left, Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, just to clarify on the fight, is everybody, the health of your guys, or everybody okay, or just?
Yeah, I don't know if I know all that right now. There was a couple things kind of crazy that went on down there, but I think everybody's okay.
Address it with your guys.
Well, I talked to the team after the game, and again, without knowing all the details, there's some prideful guys on our team that aren't just going to sit back and watch that happen. So,
got time for just a couple more. Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, obviously the season's not lost. You have the playoff, but this meant so much to your guys. How concerned are you that getting past this and moving on, probably not the Big Ten championship game, if you could speak to that disappointment, but regrouping for the playoff? How tough will that be?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm fresh off we're fresh off the game, and so I don't really have the answer to that. Yeah, I mean, we're very disappointed. Never thought this would happen right here, and we're expecting to win this game and then go play in the Big Ten championship game, and neither of those things happen. So, we don't know what's going on now. This is just too soon to try to figure out what's next. But once we have more information in about a week, we'll figure that part of it out. I'll bring them together here pretty soon and talk to them. But there's a lot of guys who are crushed right now.
And final questions over to the right, Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Yeah, kind of along those lines. You had seniors come back who said that the biggest goal was just to beat the team up north. What is the message to those guys right now? Just played very likely their final home game in this stadium.
Yeah, there's not much nothing you can say at this point. You got to take the ownership of it, and that's hard. And ultimately, it starts with me. And there's no words right now that can address any of that because of what they put into the program. And these are great guys who give unbelievable effort, and ultimately we just didn't execute well enough in this game. And again, it starts with me and goes from there.
Great. Coach, thank you very much.
All right, guys.
All right, we'll have Cody Simon here momentarily. All right, we will open up the floor for Cody. Questions right here over to the right, right behind you, Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Yeah, Cody, you're one of the leaders of this team. I don't know, where do you guys go from here right now? And you especially being the leader, how do you regroup these guys knowing that you're probably going to still have a couple games left to play?
Yeah, not really sure right now. It's frustrating, for all the seniors, all the older guys. So we're just going to have to, lick our wounds and get regrouped. But this I don't think anything's hurt more than this.
Over to the left, Cody, Cameron Teague Robinson, The Athletic.
Cody, it didn't seem like they had sustained drives in that first half, but they got two in that second half. Obviously, the field goal at the end was there anything that they did that was different, or was it just kind of chipping away at plays?
We just didn't get stops when we needed to. We need to be prepared to win games, and just on defense, and we didn't get the stop when we needed to get a stop. So.
Over to the right, Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Cody, I know this is an emotional moment for you. This is part of the reason why you came back. Can you just take us through what you guys are feeling in that locker room right now, coming off of another loss like this?
I can't really speak to everybody else, but I feel like I let you guys down, let all Buckeye Nation, think there's more we could have done. I don't know, but we just could have done more. I don't know. Let you guys down. I'm sorry.
Over to the left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Cody, you had said this week you felt it was important for you guys to play freely, that it's still just football and you guys needed to be not afraid to go up there and make plays. Do you feel like you guys played that way? And if not, then why not?
I mean, this game there's a lot of pressure in this game. I think we, for the most part, we did, but you know, the moment sometimes it gets all tense, and so sometimes you can't make all the plays you need to, but we got to get a stop. That's really what it is.
Over to the right, Tim May, Letterman Row.
Cody, I couldn't see, clearly who all was where in the melee afterwards when they tried to plant their flag. Ryan Day basically indicated, the impetus was they tried to plant their flag at midfield for you guys. Where were you in all that, and what did you see, and how did you help try to break things up, or just what was your view of that?
I heard the commotion. I think I was late to it, but I ran in there, but I'm not. I mean, we want to stay together as a team, and I don't want to focus anything about that. I just want to keep the focus on having to regroup, and we know there's more season left for us, so just stay focused.
All right, we'll have one more question in the middle. Jake Trotter, ESPN.
Yeah, what does it say about the rivalry for them to try to do that? And then how do you guys bounce back with a lot of season left, despite losing to these guys for a fourth straight time?
I don't know. I mean, we just gotta. I don't really know what it's gonna look like, but it hurts, and we just gotta come together as a team. I mean, seniors gotta be leaders, and we gotta really make a difference here. But it's hard to swallow this pill. So,
Cody, thank you very much. All right, so I'm not sure if we're done right now or not, but we'll just hang here momentarily. Cool with you. All right. Thank you so much for coming up, Will. We'll open up the press conference over to the right. Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
Took you out for a minute. It looked like you were going through concussion protocol. How did you feel coming out of that? Did you feel like just that in general kind of maybe threw you out of rhythm and you were kind of struggling to catch up again the rest of the game?
Felt good enough to come back.
Over to the left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Will, just as somebody who, obviously you came here, that's a big reason why you came here. You're a leader of his team. What do you do now to try to regroup this team coming off of this, going forward to the playoff?
It's hard, man. Don't really have much right now. But I do know that, we're a 2-loss team. We're gonna get in the playoffs and we're gonna make a run, but I mean, this one hurts. It hurts.
Over to the right, Austin Ward, the podcast.
Well, it's felt like when you guys go tempo, when you rely, especially that drive right before halftime, when you guys put it in the air a lot, that's maybe when you're at your best right now. I know you don't want to criticize coaches or play calling or game plan, but is there anything a quarterback or you guys can do to say, hey, can we stick with this a little bit more?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm going to stay away from that right now.
All right, we'll go to the left, Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Will, when you came out there in the second quarter, were you evaluated for a concussion? What was the steps there?
I got banged up, and I was good enough to come back. Yep. Yeah. Got banged up, got hit, and yeah, it was my head, and it was good enough to come back. So.
Over to the right, Jake Trotter, ESPN.
Will, any thoughts on what happened after the game at midfield?
Nope.
Rob Aller over to the left, Columbus Dispatch.
Where do you go from here? You guys couldn't run the ball against a pretty stout defense. What happens now?
I just said it. We're going to regroup and go into the playoffs and make a run.
Over to the right, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Sort of to ask you about the interceptions. What did you see on those plays?
Both of them were on me. The first one we're throwing out routes. They're playing like palms, reading eyes inside, and I got to keep it outside, and I can't let him make that play. And the second one, Mech was running an option route. He went out and came back in, and I was just a little behind him on the throw.
We've got time for just a couple more. Dennis Dodd, CBS Sports.
Well, on the list of everything that happened today, we're in the playoffs. At least we're in the playoffs. Where does that stand right now?
Very low.
I mean, when will you start, hey, we can win the national championship
tomorrow
after today?
Over to the left, Cameron Teague Robinson.
Will, I know obviously you weren't here for all 4 losses, but you've talked about you want to go on. You guys are going to go on and run the playoff. As a guy who's the leader of this group, knowing how that locker room feels, what do you do or what do you say to rally this group?
It's hard right now. I don't know if I have the answer to that right now at this moment, but gonna go and get with my family, regroup, and man, I still love this team. I still love this university, and I'm sorry, man. I'm blessed to have the opportunity to be a Buckeye, and I'm sorry I couldn't get this one done.
And final question, over to the right, Tim May, Letterman Row.
You weren't done. You want to finish that?
Go ahead.
Okay. Number one, after that drive, the end of the first half, you had to feel like something good was going on, right? I mean, what kind of didn't work after that? And then number two, what drives a guy to want to get back into a game he's just been kind of knocked out of? Explain that to people who maybe don't get it.
Can you repeat that second part? I'm sorry.
Yeah. What drives a guy to want to get back into a game where he's just been sort of helped off the field? What is that motivation, that drive that wants you to get back into that game?
I mean, like everything inside of me wants to get. I mean, there's nothing that inside of me that wanted to come off that field. I was trying to get up, and it hurts, man. It hurts, and we got to go back and look at the film and see what happened in the second half. I don't know what it was, but we got to execute better. And bottom line is we lost, and it hurts, man. And I can't say it enough. I'm sorry to Buckeye Nation, but listen, we still got things ahead of us, and we can still run the table and win a national championship. And I think at the end of the day, that's what we have to focus on, and that's got to keep us going, because this one hurts like hell, man. And I feel for those guys that came back. I feel for Coach Day, everything they poured into this, and at the end of the day, we still got stuff in front of us. So we'll regroup and go from there tomorrow.
Great. Will, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. God bless.
Yeah, I think that'll be it for a press conference here. Thank you. Yes.